And now, Kie Westby.
Thank you. It's great to be here in the Avon, Canton, Simsbury area because this is the area that knocked Chris Murphy on his heels. You told him that you weren't going to take a government-run health care program, and you told him that you weren't going to allow him and Nancy Pelosi to cram the program down your throats that you didn't believe in. I'm running for government for the congressional seat in the 5th District because I think we really have reached a fork in the road, and we have to make a decision. If we go to the left, we're going to accept more government spending, more government taxation, and more government regulation. If we veer to the left, we're going to compromise our national security and witness the slow undoing of the private enterprise system. We can veer to the right. We can take a position of limited government, individual responsibility, and the recognition that the private enterprise system is the greatest system ever invented for growth, prosperity, and jobs. In order to elect the right kind of person, you need a person who's committed to service. Service above self. For the last 30 years, I've committed my life to service, whether it's representing a client before the Supreme Court of Connecticut, whether it's crawling through the mud for the United States Marine Corps, whether it's raising money for a charity, whether it's chaperoning in a homeless shelter, whether it's being elected to the Board of Education, or whether serving on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I believe service is the key concept for deciding the kind of representative you should have in Washington. I've committed my life to service, and I believe that the best way to absolutely spend your time is to serve other people and try to make the society and community you live in a better place to live. I want to be the kind of representative that you can be proud of. I want to work hard, and I want to fight for what is right. I want to be active, I want to be accessible, and I want to be accountable. And I want your AAA rating of approval. You know, in 3 days, we are going to celebrate the birthday of the greatest president we've ever had. Abraham Lincoln shepherded this nation through a bloody Civil War. And in that crisis, Lincoln personified wisdom, courage, and integrity. We need those values in Washington now. He believed in a rebirth of freedom, and that we could have a nation of the people, for the people, and by the people. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take that journey with me to improve the quality of government and give you the kind of government that you deserve. And together, we can share in that Lincoln vision and that Lincoln legacy. Thank you.
Candidates, our first of 2 questions. Chris Murphy's name has been mentioned, so we will direct our attention to a statement he made in regards to a judge's decision to keep the Pratt & Whitney jobs in Connecticut. Chris Murphy stated, quote, "Pratt did not bargain in good faith. It's time for Pratt to get serious about negotiating a deal with labor and government to keep these jobs here for the long haul." End quote. Yes or no? Do you believe that these sentiments will allow any company to maintain and increase employment in the state of Connecticut in this global economy?
I also disagree with Chris Murphy here. There's something in that newspaper article that granted the injunction that really is indicative of the business environment in Connecticut. We're operating in an anti-business environment. And when people see that the courts are going to stop companies from moving out of the state, that sends the reverse message to companies outside of the state of Connecticut that are thinking about coming into Connecticut. We have had an anti-business environment in the state for the last 20 years, and now the chickens have come home to roost. It's time that we elect people to our state government and our federal government who understand and appreciate the virtue of the free enterprise system. And we have to get rid of people like Chris Murphy, whose idea of paradise is everyone working for the federal government.
Candidates, as you know, the President of the United States about 2 weeks ago met with House Republicans in Baltimore, and the specific discussion seemed to center around health care. The President looking for the House Republicans' plan for health care. So if you were across the table from the President of the United States, what would you tell him about helping you?
Thanks, Dan. I would say to the President that both the House's plan and the Senate's plan are fundamentally flawed, and we have to go back to square one. Any meaningful reform has to address the issues of tort reform, interstate commerce among insurance companies, and the ability of individual citizens to buy and afford a basic health insurance policy so that we can bridge the gap of the uninsured. As it stands right now, you and I who have insurance subsidize people who don't have insurance. We have to put incentives into the system so that everyone has health insurance, so that the cost is spread out, and we have a better and more efficient health care system.
Thank you, Kie.